What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This, the Lake Mead Marina. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, made my way back out to Lake Mead Marina, also known as Hemenway Harbor. Now, in a typical video of mine, I throw out lots of baits looking for whatever is willing to bite, but today is going to be a bit different. Today I want to focus specifically on stripers. I want to catch some stripers. Now, based on some comments I got in some previous videos, it seems with the water temperatures not being that cold yet, the fish are in a bit deeper. So for that reason, I'm going to go out with the flow tube today, and that's why we made our way back to the marina. Now, this might be one of the last flow tube videos for the season, not quite sure yet, but the main goal is to get out into deeper water and try and find these fish. So I will show you the plan for today and the gear I'm going to use out on the water. You can see the water level has come up a bit. That little wreck sticking out there, that is the World War II ship. That is the one that I was fishing next to in one of the previous videos, trying to find some fish. That is now again almost submerged, so the water has gone up some. Alright, so we are just outside of the marina, so we're allowed to start fishing. While moving to the spot, I'm trolling some lures behind me. We just got a little hit. Our first fish for today, tiny little smallmouth bass. See the lovely brown colors with the red eye. Lovely little smallmouth bass. First fish for today. Let's get this guy back to the water. Thanks, little guy, for biting. And off he goes. Just using some small crappie jigs. Just dragging that behind me while I'm going to the spot we want to be fishing. See if any fish like that little smallmouth will go for them. Alrighty, ladies and gents, we made our way out to the spot. Well, why this particular spot? Well, simple. You see that little buoy we got out there? That means this entire area is a no wake zone. So hopefully if people listen to the rules, we won't get too much waves out here and we can do some fishing in this area without being disturbed. Now, luckily we already got one fish, so we're not going to get skunked today. But the plan for now is going to be trying to focus on finding some stripers. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for any action in the water, anywhere I see fish jumping. It's rather important to try and figure out what type of fish it is. If you're seeing some carp jump, no need to go towards the carp, but some other silvery fish, if you see some action happening out there, might be indication of stripers in the area, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to look for some spots where you can try and find the stripers. Now, of course, in the state of Nevada, you're allowed 2 rods per licensed angler, so I'm going to start off with one small little rod, and on this small setup I have a tiny little Carolina rig with a small weight. I don't want a big weight that can scare the fish, and a little drop shot hook. On that I'm going to put some anchovies, leave that soaking out in the water. If I do happen to find any bait fish, I can also try and catch them. I do have my net out here with me, so I can try and catch bait fish and also put them on this hook and see if we can get any fish that way. But I'm not seeing any schools of bait fish at the moment. And I also have 2 other rods. The first one being a lighter setup for throwing small shad imitations. But my main focus for today, because we're looking for stripers, is going to be some top water action. So I got some braid on a bait caster, and I have several top water lures, little popper things that I can move in the water, try and find some stripers. If I see a boil happening, I can throw this out there. Okay, so I just was in something like 36 to 40 feet worth of water, but I kept seeing fish jumping in this particular area, so I moved over here now. It's a bit shallower. We're closer to the 20 feet range at the moment. But seeing as how this is where I've seen fish jumping, this may be a good place to try and fish. I'm going to start off with a little bone-colored popper. Anything shad colors, whites, bone color, anything like that is a good way to try and entice some stripers. Just had another fish jump over there. So I'm going to be throwing this around. If I get any action, I'll bring you guys to it. Now of course space is a bit limited on this little float, so I'm having problems with the actual movement of the lure, but it pops nice and good in the water. I think if there's any fish around it will attract them, but I'm not seeing any of the usual signs, something like birds diving into the water, boils happening, nothing like that. It's a nice, cool and calm day. It's still pretty to be out here at least. But I'm going to be making casts, swapping to different lures the entire day, trying to find if I can get any of the fish in this area to go for any of my lures. Okay, so after an hour I can see some big carp jumping out way deeper, but I think the fish I'm seeing jumping around me here, I think maybe that's just some gizzard shad. They look silvery, so I'm thinking gizzard shad. And even on the fish finder, seeing lots of structure but not a lot of fish down here, so I'm thinking maybe heading out into deeper water, thinking that these fish will only come shallow once the water temperatures drop some more, so I'm going to look for some deeper water. Alright, so it's now been a couple of hours and I've fished this entire area, soaking some baits, throwing around all sorts of lures, looking for some fish. I've been throwing an assortment of topwater lures, hoping to find any stripers that would be willing to go for my little lures. No luck so far. So for that reason, I think it's about time to change things up a bit. Thinking I'm rather gonna go for little shad imitations and throw that around a particular spot that I'm in at the moment. Right here, it's about 22 meters. That's 60 to 70 feet worth of water. And on the little fish finder, down on the bottom, I can see a large, big school of fish. Don't know what they are. I have some baits down there. No interest on the baits. I'm thinking maybe this is a school of shad. They keep swimming around this area, so that is why I'm going to go for bait fish imitations, fish in this area, see if I get anything. If not, I'll continue to move spots, see if I can find anything. Alright ladies and gents, it is midday, no fish so far. I had one carp, swam up to have a look at me, seeing fish jump, but no bass, no striped bass. Now it is very difficult to figure out where the fish are and how to find them. It's not just as easy as getting onto the water. That is something you need to keep in mind. But the fishing has been rather slow. I haven't even had to swap out the little battery on this camera yet. And that kind of just makes you think that you should appreciate each and every fish you do catch. That little smallmouth we got this morning. But it's very important, even though that's a small fish, to appreciate your fish. I'm sure by now you've all heard about the fishermen trying to increase the weight of their fish by putting in some lead weights in that competition. Luckily they were caught out, but that is a terrible thing to do. Not just for cheating, it is very damaging to the fish, forcing them to swallow some lead weights. And that is one important thing that I want to mention in this video. It's very important that we anglers take care of the fish we catch. You need to appreciate the fish you do get, no matter the size, whether it's big or small. We need to look after our fish, give them good proper releases. We've all seen the videos on YouTube where people catch small bass and they just throw them back into the water. There's no need for anything like that. Appreciate the fish, no matter the size. Even if it's a small little fish, give it the respect it needs, put it back into the water. That's the only way we can ensure that we get some good fishing in the future. By doing so, we help release the fish safely. They get to grow up, they get to make some babies, and we get to fish some better fish in the future. Alright, but enough rambling from me. Let's quickly move to a new spot, see if we can find something. Okay, so right now I am in 20 meters worth of water, and as you can see on the little fish finder, it shows quite a lot of fish down there. If I move around in this small area, the number of fish it shows gets more or less, but it seems to be all in this area. Now this is a great thing to know how deep it is, and it does show me whether it's a rocky bottom or a plant-based bottom, but I have no way of knowing whether those really are fish, whether we have a school of bait fish around here, or whether that's actually a submerged ship, a wreck or something down there. I have no way of knowing. That is why, if possible, always try and go for something better. If you have sonar, You can actually see a little image, you can actually see what's down there, you can see whether it's fish or not. So although these are cheap, good tools to use, if you can, always go for something a bit better. Alright guys, for 3 years now I've been fishing here at Lake Mead, and in that time I've learned that I know very little about fishing when it comes to Lake Mead. Now in my mind, in my dreams, I had this idea of going out there, finding a boil, casting out a bunch of lures, catching fish after fish. And that is something that can happen. It does happen from time to time. But like today, it's possible to have a very boring day out there as well. Now luckily, we did have one fish in this video, so at least there was a fish. Thank you guys for sticking around, watching this entire video with not really much happening. I try hard to show you guys the way that it truly is out there. Even with the little float, I can get in quite a lot deeper than I would from the bank. But even if I was on the bank, I don't think I would have gotten many fish out there today. Alright, but I've been rambling the entire video. So please do give me a little thumbs up, just to give me a little moral boost. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button, joining my community. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And like always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.